then you have to move to deal with health, because health and illiteracy are linked. We now have in the Caribbean an explosion of chronic diseases. We have 60% of the black people in the Caribbean over the age of 60 have hypertension or diabetes, or both. Now, if you take the single criterion of chronic diseases, hypertension, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, if you take that simple criterion, the black people in the Caribbean are the unhealthiest people on the planet. And you have to understand that. On the one hand, we are watching Usain Bolt and we're watching the Caribbean athletes. We're watching the Caribbean with an image of being the most athletic people on the planet. But beneath that image of these super sportsmen and women is the hard reality that we are now the sickest people on the planet. In every black family in the Caribbean, hypertension and diabetes is endemic and congenital. In my family, almost everybody over 60 has hypertension and diabetes. And it's the same for your families, for all of our families. There is an explosion of ill health in the Caribbean. And this is a legacy of slavery and colonization. You take a people, put them on an island for 300 years, give them salt fish and salt pork every day, overwork them, undermine them, sell their children, rape their wives, make them work 20 hours a day, overwork, malnourish, and take them through that stress profile of physical and mental terror. What you get? Hypertension and diabetes. It was the same then as it is now. When your doctor tells you to learn to relax, take out your salt. Well, you can take out the salt, but your foreparents couldn't take it because that's all they had, salt. And now the result is that black people in the Caribbean cannot metabolize salt and sugar. Because for 300 years, that is what we were fed on plantations, plus the stress. So we cannot metabolize salt and sugar, and now we all have a salt and sugar problem, hypertension, diabetes. And we are spending millions of dollars to deal with this. Millions of dollars we are spending to fight hypertension, diabetes in the Caribbean. That is going to be the #1 economic crisis in this region next 20 years, unless we find an answer to it. At the University of the West Indies, we've started to do this research. And I can share with you the problem that we're having. The drugs that are being used to treat high blood pressure, for example, have been clinically tried on Caucasian peoples because they are the majority in the markets. The drugs are 95% efficient on a Caucasian body because when you take a hypertension drug, what happens, the drug goes into your body, it sends a message to your cells to open up, let the blood come through. It sends a message, okay. When a white person takes that drug, the cells have a 90% response. When an African black person in the Caribbean takes that drug, we have a 70% response. So we are still dying at a faster rate. When you see people in their 60s and 70s having strokes and heart attacks because of hypertension, it is because the drugs are not working. They're not working as well as they should. Now, the important thing about this is that the drugs work on the Africans. The drugs work on the Africans as well as they work on the Caucasians. But they don't work on us because something happened to us. You see, so when an African in Nigeria and Ghana and so on takes the drugs, she has a good response. When the Europeans take it, they have a good response. But in the Caribbean and in the New World, the Africans over here don't have that response because something happened to us. Because we have been genetically modified during that slavery period. It doesn't work on us. And now we have to find out. So right now we are taking blood samples. We are taking blood samples from people in Nigeria and Ghana and comparing blood samples with Barbados, Jamaica, St. Vincent, and trying to find out what the differences are so that we can figure out why the cells of black people in the Caribbean don't respond the same way as Africans do. What has happened to us in the process? The stress profile of slavery for the 300 to 400 years. And believe me, we have lost some very good people in the Caribbean over the years from heart attacks as a result of hypertension. People who really should be living longer. But let's say there are 5 or 6 drugs that we are using for hypertension. We've tried them. We've had individuals in our university community, and we have moved them from one drug, it worked for a year, to the next, it worked for a year, to the next. And we've gone through all the drugs, and eventually the body starts reacting, and we're getting people dying of heart attacks. That should be alive. So slavery was not just killing you in the slavery period. 150 years later, slavery is still killing us at a faster rate.